Hey guys, Hydro101 here. We're back with another Sun and Moon video. So, I'm still working through the story. It is getting a little bit slow, but the story is huge for those of you. Hope you're really enjoying it. Going through the story though, we did discover some very weird dex entries. Now, the PokeDex is a very dark place. I'm sure most of you already know that. However, Sun and Moon have pretty much excelled themselves for darkness. I mean, some of these are a little bit freaky. So what we're going to do today, I've picked out some of the ones that I've read in there that freaked me out probably the most. So we're going to run through those for you guys, and I hope you enjoy the video. So number one on the list is Crabballer. So these are in no particular order, but Crabballer's entry is pretty interesting. On Moon, it says it just throws punches indiscriminately. In times of desperation, it can lock off its own pincers and fire them like rockets. So this thing gets that angry that it cuts off its own arms and throws them at people. Now, I know there are people in this world who you might want to rip your own arm off to beat to death. Kim Kardashian or any of the Kardashians, to be fair, spring to mind. But this Pokemon gets so annoyed, it literally lops its own arm off. Does it use its, does it sort of scissor its arm off with its claws and then throws it with it? It's just a little bit on the weird side, Gamefreak. And that's why Crabballer makes this list. Our second Pokemon on the list is Gengar. Now, Gengar's got some scary dex entries anyway. Through most of the series, Gengar is pretty scary for those of us who watch Generations. The Mansion episode, I believe it was, for Halloween came out Halloween, featured Gengar and Haunter, was super freaky. And although my little lad's been watching them, would not let him watch that one because it nearly gave me nightmares, let alone him. But Gengar's dex entry is particularly terrifying in Sun and in Move. In Sun it says, should you feel yourself tapped by a sudden chill, it is evidence of a Gengar approaching. There is no escaping, it is time to give up. So effectively, if you are found by a Gengar while you're out doing your Pokemon training, you might as well give up there and then. This thing is going to kill you. It is going to take your life. In Moon, apparently it wishes for its travelling companion. Since it was once human itself, it tries to create one by taking the lives of other humans. So this thing will quite happily kill Pokemon trainers. We're sending 10-year-olds to catch these things. Gengar is still one of those scary Pokemon in the generation. And in Sun and Moon with that dex entry, absolutely no exception. This thing is terrifying and not something you want to meet on a dark night. Number 3 on our list is Gyarados. So Gyarados is not a particularly scary mon. It's pretty cool, badass looking, definitely. But it's definitely not what you class up there with like Gengar as a scary Pokemon at all. However, his Sun dex entry says otherwise. His Sun dex entry says, a tale is told of a town that angered Gyarados. Before the sun rose the next day, flames had utterly consumed the town, leaving nothing but a trace behind. So, if that's right, and we are to believe it is in Pokemon lore, the townspeople angered Gyarados. So, not something you find yourself wanting to do. Maybe they took the mickey out of it when it was a Magikarp and it got a bit annoyed when it rolled it, thought, right, it's payback time. But this thing utterly destroyed their whole town. It left nothing behind. Burnt it to cinders, flooded it, completely wiped it off the map. I'm going to assume that's most of the town folk as well, the women, the children, the villagers. Everybody completely gone. So, next time you're catching a Magikarp, you're playing Pokemon Go and you go, oh god, another Magikarp on there. Just bear that in mind. This thing can evolve and wipe out your whole city. Number 4 on the list is actually 2 Pokemon, same evolution line, so we're classing them as 1. So we're doing 2 for the same thing. First one is Mareanie. So Mareanie is brand new to Gen 7, new Pokemon, water poison type I believe. I'm probably going to get that wrong. It seems to have found itself big time in the metagame at the moment. In terms of its evolution form, it looks like it's been one of the better walls that are in there. And gets banned for Bumper, which is really painful move. You don't want to punch it when it does that. However, Marie's Sun Pokedex entry says, it plunges the poison spike on its head into its prey. When the prey is weakened, Mareanie deals a finishing blow with its 10 tentacles. So this thing has got a big spike comes out kind of out the top of its head. And when it grabs its prey, it drives it straight into its prey. And that's pretty nasty. It injects it with poison to weaken the prey enough, and then it deals a finishing blow with 10 tentacles. So imagine you're a poor little fish Pokemon. So I don't know, say a Magikarp or something, just swimming along, mind your own business, and along comes this Mareanie, grabs you, drives its poison spike straight into you, waits for you to be weakened enough, and finishes you off with its 10 tentacles, which I'm guessing are all spiky and nasty. So not a nice way to go if you're a Pokemon out there swimming around in the sea, just enjoying the view. However, its Togepex is actually worse. So Togepex's some entry reads, Togepex crawls along the ocean floor on its 12 legs. It leaves a trail of Corsola bits scattered in its raid. So those of us who play Pokemon Sun and Moon, you will notice there are lots of cute little Corsolas just dotted around the straw, just in Pokemon Centres quite frequently. They're just sort of chilling out. So it's a bit sad really, and we know it's meant to be, these things are meant to be like animals on the food chain, and people eat Slowpoke tails for God's sake. However, bits of Corsola scattered along in its raid. This thing literally is demolishing this cute little fish Pokemon and leaving its remaining body parts behind it. That's pretty gross and pretty disturbing, to be fair. Next on the list is Shinodage. So Shinodage is a new little mushroom type, and he kind of looks like Toad from Mario, actually, very much like Toad from Mario. He's even got shorts for it, but we won't go into that right now. Maybe they're related down the line. Maybe we'll see. There's probably a theory there somewhere. We've got Ultrabeats coming from different dimensions. Why not Toads coming over there as well? However, his Sun Pokedex and his Moon Pokedex are particularly scary. In Sun it says that forests where Shinotics live are treacherous to enter at night. People are confused by its strange lights. By its strange lights can never find their way home again. Can never find their way home again. This thing lures people into the forest, and those people just disappear. Interesting what happens to them. But strangely enough, we have a little bit of a hint on what could happen to these people when they're leaving the forest on the Pokemon Moon Pokedex entry for it. It says that it emits flickering spores that cause drowsiness. When its prey come to sleep, this Pokemon feeds on them by sucking their energy. So not only is it doing that to Pokemon, but is it also doing it to humans that are entering the forest? People wander into the forest confused by its strange lights, only to be put to sleep by this thing when drained of energy. Is that why we keep finding singular Pokeballs with items on them in the middle of the forest? Shitinics are killing trainers out there? We're letting kids out into the woods at night where these things are about, really? So, although he looks cute and cuddly, this thing is actually not the nicest Pokemon out there at all. Avoid, people, and if you see any strange lights from a forest, don't go in there. Next we have Beware. Now Beware is one of the cutest, most probably fluffiest looking Pokemon in this game. You just want to look like when you give a big hug. However, that's probably not particularly advisable if its Moon Pokedex entry is anything to go by. In Moon it says that this Pokemon has a habit of hugging its companions. That's not necessarily a bad thing. However, many trainers have left this world because their spines were squished in its hug. This thing is Bane. This is Bane from in the Pokemon universe. It desperately wants to give its trainer cuddles, but every time it does, it breaks their backs. So, if you're out and about, guys, beware of the Beware. This thing is not as cute as cuddly as it appears. Competitively, this thing, I don't think you see any reason why you call it anything other than Bane, or I will break you, because it's literally what it does. Okay guys, so the next Pokemon on this list is a Pokemon that is probably one of the most terrifying Dex entries out there, and that Pokemon is Palossand. Now, not only is its Dex entry scary, but the Pokemon company themselves released an image of it with it devouring a Pikachu and sucking its spirit into the next life. I am not even kidding, they showed this thing killing their mascot. 2 small children. GG Gamefreak, GG. Its Pokedex entry, however, is terrifying. For Sun, it says that it possesses small children by encouraging them to add to the sample with the spike when it's out of its head. Once it's grabbed that, they are possessed, and their only job is to keep building sand on it and to make this thing grow bigger and bigger until it eventually evolves. As it grows bigger, its power evolves, and so does its influence over more children. So this thing is kind of like a scary child catcher, but it gets worse. On Pokemon Moon, its Dex entry reads, buried beneath the castle are masses of dried up bones from those who have had their vitality drained from it. Here, poor Pikachu here, who managed to stumble into it. So this thing, although it looks like, harmless bit of seaside fun, it is actually one of the most terrifying Pokemon I think there is out there. Definitely the most dangerous. Child possession, not a good thing. And dried up bones underneath the sand, not something I want to find while I'm building sandcastles. Although I might not be building too many sandcastles after reading this. Next on the list is a Pokemon that was introduced in Gen 6, so while not a Gen 7 Pokemon as such, its Dex entry is still suitably scary. And we are talking about Anthem. So its Pokemon Sun Dex entry reads, these Pokemon are stumps possessed by spirits of children who died in the forest. Their cries sound like eerie screams. So this thing is basically the ghost of, I'm assuming, Pokemon trainers who have got lost in the forest. probably killed by Shinodage. There's a nice little tie-in. You are literally catching and trapping the souls of children who got lost in the forest, other Pokemon trainers in the Pokeball as Pokemon. Now, not only is this slightly messed up a little bit, it's also cries mimic all the way through the forest on the night. Personally find this thing a bit terrifying. Don't get me wrong, I love Trevenant, I've run Trevenants competitively, it's a brilliant Pokemon. But why are these Dex entries so dark? You could have had a nice one, he could have been the spirit of the forest, or the embodiment of it, but instead no, we get trapped children's spirits. Next up is a Pokemon I was really looking forward to and excited to seeing, and then I found out it doesn't get an evolution. Damn you, Gamefreak! We're talking about Kamala. I'm still going to run one. It is so cute. However, it's got very Dex entries. Its Moon Dex entry reads like this cute cuddly little panda that will quite happily hang onto its trainer's arm, mistaking it for its beloved log. However, its Sun Dex entry is a little bit different, and by a little bit I mean massively disturbingly different. So its Dex entry reads, it's born asleep and it dies asleep. All its movements are apparently no more than the results of it tossing and turning in its dreams. So does this imply that it never ever wakes up? That this poor cute koala bear is literally born asleep and dies asleep, and none of its movements, all of its movements that it makes are nothing but fevered dreams and nightmares? So is this whole Pokemon's life one massive nightmare that it cannot ever wake up from? That is absolutely terrifying. I mean, look at it, it's so cute, but why would you give this thing this sort of Dex entry? And why would you not give it an evolution? Maybe in Gen 8, who knows? Fingers crossed. So, coming towards the end of this list now, but our penultimate Pokemon on this list is Turtonator. Now, Turtonator makes this list not because he's got a particularly scary Dex entry, actually far from it, but it did actually make me laugh quite a lot when I read it. What that says about me and my immaturity is completely up to you guys. I'm guessing pretty low on the maturity level, but hopefully some of you guys will see the funny side in this as well. So, his Moon Dex entry actually states, it gushes fire and poisonous gases from its nostrils. Its dung is an explosive substance and can be put to experimental uses. I'm giggling already. So, Turtonator basically poops TNT. He poops explosives. So, if you're shoveling around anything with this, if you are running a Turtonator, be very careful if you're playing Pokemon Amino what you are picking up off the floor, because you may well lose an arm to it. So I'm guessing it's used in their Pokemon armies or demolition, but if you're out in the forest hunting Pokemon, guys, beating this Turtonators around, be very careful of what you step in. And the last Pokemon on the list, guys, and definitely by no means least on this one, is everyone's favourite cosplaying Pokemon, and that is Mimikyu. So, since his first appearance, he even got his own separate trailer, which I think is the only one to get a trailer all to itself. Is everyone's favourite cosplaying Pikachu character. He's super cute, he looks like he's got a wicked ability for competitive, he's getting used quite a lot. I know his usage, he's probably going to end up in OU, but you can't help but love the little guy. After all, he cosplays Pikachu over here, who we all love and know. So, but his Dex entry, not really surprising, is super scary. It's said in Sun that his actual appearance is unknown, so we don't know what it looks like underneath that costume. However, a scholar that once saw what was under the rag was overwhelmed by terror and died of shock. So whatever is under there, whatever creature, being, energy, whatever is under there, is that horrifying that the person that saw it, the only person to our knowledge that has seen it, has killed over and died. So whenever you're petting something on Pokemon Me, do not be tempted to lift up and see what's underneath the costume. Let it be. And that concludes this list. Let me know in the comment section if you've come across any more Dex entries yourself that you find particularly terrifying in Sun and Moon. These are only the ones that I've found myself while I've been going through and playing through the game. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Leave any comments down below, and if I don't see you around, I'll see you on Battle Spot. Take care for now. Bye.